You think you woke up this morning because your alarm went off? No, you woke up because God, the universe, whatever you believe in, decided your story isn't finished yet. That breath in your lungs, that's the rarest currency in the world, and you're spending it right now. But here's the problem. Most of you are rich in blessings and bankrupt in gratitude. You scroll before you say thank you. You complain before you even get out of bed. And you wonder why the day feels heavy. The weight isn't the world, it's your perspective. Gratitude isn't just some soft feel-good word. It's the code that rewires your brain. It's the switch that turns chaos into clarity, pain into purpose. So before we talk about grinding success or chasing dreams, we need to talk about how you wake up. Because if you wake up wrong, you live wrong. Listen to me. Too many of you woke up this morning and acted like it was guaranteed. Like you had some kind of contract with life that said, see you tomorrow. You don't. You've never had that. I don't care how much money's in your account, how healthy you feel, or how young you are. You don't control that wake-up call. Every single time your eyes open, that's a gift, a rare one. And some of y'all are so used to it, you've stopped treating it like a blessing and started treating it like background noise. I remember days when I didn't even realize the value of the breath in my lungs. I was moving fast, chasing success, trying to prove myself, but I forgot the foundation that I was even alive to do it. Then I went through moments where I saw friends, good people, people with dreams and plans, gone before they could even take their next step. And it hit me. We walk around acting like tomorrow is guaranteed, when the truth is the only thing we've got is this one shot, this one sunrise. There's an old saying, do not squander time, for that is the stuff life is made of. Every morning, you're given more time, more stuff to build with, and how you treat that moment. When your eyes first open says everything about how you'll treat the rest of the day. If you open your eyes and the first thing you do is complain, scroll your phone, or drag your feet, you're telling life, this gift ain't that important to me. And if you treat the gift like trash, don't be surprised when your days feel empty. I've seen it with my own people. I've seen folks who got just enough to survive, but they wake up grateful, ready to push, ready to build something from nothing, and they end up with more. Then I've seen folks who have everything someone else prayed for, but because they wake up entitled, they lose it all. You think wealth starts in the bank? No, wealth starts in the mind the moment you open your eyes. If your first thought is gratitude, you're already in profit before you leave the bed. There was a season in my life where I had nothing but a vision in my head and a roof that wasn't even mine. I remember waking up on a couch, no money, no plan, but I made a choice. I said, I'm alive, and that means I'm in the game. I can still move the pieces. And because I treated every single morning like a blessing, I worked like I'd been given a miracle because I had. That shift in perspective was the seed of every success I've touched since then. The truth is, when you understand that waking up is a privilege, you stop negotiating with your goals. You stop saying, I'll do it later, because later might not exist. Gratitude will make you urgent. It'll light a fire under you. It'll make you hustle different because you realize you've been given another day to close the gap between where you are and where you're supposed to be. And I'm telling you, wealth isn't just about stacking money. It's about stacking impact, stacking memories, stacking moments that matter. You can't do any of that if you're walking through life half asleep, waiting for life to excite you. You've got to wake up excited, not because everything's perfect, but because you're still here to fight for it. Let me tell you something. Every time you hit snooze, you're not just delaying the alarm, you're delaying your life. I'm not saying don't rest. I'm saying don't waste your wake up. The world doesn't wait for the sleepy. Opportunity doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Gratitude makes you get up when the bed is warm, the day is uncertain, and the grind looks tough because you know the alternative is no grind at all. I think about the farmer who wakes up before the sun, not because someone tells him to, but because he knows the crops won't plant themselves. He knows the morning is his advantage. The same goes for you. When you wake up and recognize the privilege of being alive, you start planting seeds early. You start using the time most people waste. And over time, those seeds grow into something bigger than you imagine. And don't get it twisted. I'm not saying life won't still punch you in the mouth. You can wake up grateful and still have problems waiting for you. But here's the difference. Gratitude gives you the strength to deal with them differently. It puts your problems in perspective. It's like an anchor. You're still in the storm, but you're not drifting away. You got to train your mind. When your eyes open, your first thought should be, thank you, I've got one more shot. Don't wait for a health scare, a loss, or some tragedy to wake you up to the fact that every morning is rare. Start now. Start tomorrow morning. Let gratitude be the first voice in your head before the world tries to fill it with noise. The way you wake up is the way you live. If you start the day in appreciation, you'll find more to appreciate. If you start in entitlement, you'll find more to complain about. The choice is yours. But understand this, the clock is always ticking, and every tick is a gift you can't get back. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, don't just open your eyes, open your heart. Recognize the privilege, recognize the blessing, and then go make the day pay you back for it. Some people hear the word gratitude and think it's soft. They think it's some quiet, gentle, sit in the corner emotion. They think gratitude means you just accept whatever life hands you and say thank you without fighting for more. That's where they get it twisted. Gratitude is not weakness. Gratitude is a weapon, and if you learn how to use it right, it'll cut through fear, doubt, and excuses faster than anything else in your arsenal. You ever notice that the most dangerous people in the world, the ones who overcome the biggest odds, the ones who keep getting up no matter how many times they get knocked down, they've got this unshakable spirit. You can take their money, their title, their comfort, but you can't touch their attitude. Why? Because they're grateful for the little that's left, and they use that gratitude to fight for the rest. I've been in seasons where I had nothing but the shirt on my back and an idea in my mind. And you know what kept me moving? Gratitude. I was grateful I still had breath in my lungs. Grateful I still had a mind that could think, a body that could move. That gratitude became my weapon because it shifted my focus away from what I didn't have and toward what I could still do. There's an old saying from my grandmother, a thankful heart is a fearless heart. When you start counting what's working in your favor, the mountain in front of you doesn't shrink, but your courage grows. You stop feeling like a victim of the situation and start feeling like a survivor who's ready for war. Think about it. When you're ungrateful, you're always in defense mode. You're stressed about what you don't have, worried about losing what little you've got, scared of the next hit life might throw. But when you're grateful, you go on offense. You stop reacting and start attacking. You see opportunity in places others only see loss. You move different because you know that even if you lose again, you've still got something to build from. I remember this one winter when money was beyond tight. I'm talking about couch surfing, figuring out where my next meal was coming from, feeling the weight of every bill I couldn't pay. And instead of drowning in that, I chose to be grateful. I still had connections, still had energy, still had the drive to hustle. That mindset put me on the offense. I made calls, I created opportunities, I worked the few resources I had like they were gold, and slowly the situation shifted. Not because my circumstances magically changed, but because gratitude gave me the boldness to change them. That's why I tell people, gratitude isn't just about saying thank you. It's about arming yourself with perspective so you can swing harder, run faster, and last longer in the fight. Gratitude gives you stamina because it fuels you with what's already working instead of draining you with what's missing. Look at history, the greats who built empires, who conquered challenges. Most people couldn't even survive, weren't always the strongest or the smartest. They were the ones who could look at a small win and say, this is enough to keep going. They didn't wait until everything was perfect to act. They acted because they were grateful for the little they had, and that gratitude gave them the courage to demand more. And here's the thing, when you live like gratitude is a weapon, you stop wasting it. You stop keeping it in the sheath until life is good enough. You start pulling it out every day. Rough day. Be grateful you woke up. That's your base to fight from. Lost a deal. Be grateful for the skills you gained in the process. That's ammo for the next shot. People turn their backs on you. Be grateful they revealed their character. That's clarity you can use to build better circles. Some of you right now are losing because you're fighting with empty hands. You're swinging with frustration, with bitterness, with comparison, and those weapons are dull. But gratitude, that's razor sharp. Gratitude will keep you moving when frustration burns you out. It'll keep you disciplined when bitterness makes you reckless. It'll keep you focused when comparison pulls your eyes off your lane. I'm telling you from experience, gratitude is not about being passive. It's about being precise. It's about hitting your target with intention instead of swinging wildly at the air. When you're grateful, you know exactly what you're fighting for and why. And when you know your why, you're unstoppable. So stop treating gratitude like it's just some feel-good morning ritual. Start treating it like your first line of defense and your deadliest offense. When you wake up tomorrow, I want you to remember you're already armed. The moment your eyes open, you've got breath, you've got a mind, you've got choices. That's more than some people had this morning. Load that into your spirit and then step out into the world swinging like you mean it. So the truth is, the fight doesn't wait for you to feel ready, and gratitude will make sure you're ready before your feet even hit the floor. When that alarm goes off in the morning, you've got two choices. You can start the day reacting, or you can start the day leading. Most people don't even realize they give away control before their feet hit the ground. They wake up, grab their phone, scroll through bad news, read the bills they can't pay yet, check the emails they don't want to answer. And just like that, the world sets their tone. They're already playing catch up before they've even brushed their teeth. But when you wake up with gratitude, you take the wheel before the road even starts. You decide the atmosphere. You decide the attitude. You decide the pace. That's not just some positive thinking thing. That's strategic. That's you setting the rhythm for the day instead of letting the day set it for you. See, gratitude in the morning is like a coach calling the first play of the game. If the first play is sloppy, the team's energy drops. If the first play is sharp, everyone steps up. Your mind is the same way. If the first thing you feed it is panic, envy, or worry, that becomes the playbook. But if the first thing you feed it is gratitude, you're saying, we're starting this game on offense and we're coming for the win. I remember when I was working jobs I didn't love just to keep the lights on. It was tempting to wake up groaning about another shift, another long day. But I made myself say thank you before my feet touched the floor. Not because the job was perfect, but because I had a job when others didn't. I had a chance to learn, to grind, to stack for something better. That small shift in mindset changed how I showed up. I wasn't dragging through the day. I was attacking it because my spirit was already warmed up before I clocked in. There's an old proverb that says, he who thanks in the morning will fight with joy all day. That's deep because gratitude isn't just about feeling good. It's about setting yourself up to win the day. When you start with thanks, you train your brain to see opportunities instead of obstacles. You spot doors instead of walls. And once your mind is tuned to opportunity, your actions follow. Think about mornings like laying down train tracks. Whatever tracks you lay in the first hour, that's the direction your day is going to run on. If you lay tracks of stress, that's where you're headed. If you lay tracks of gratitude, you're moving toward focus, energy, and resilience. And here's the thing, you can't switch tracks easily once the day starts rolling. That's why the morning matters so much. Some of you are losing battles not because you lack skill or effort, but because your mornings are working against you. You're letting negativity rent the front row seat of your mind. You're opening the door for frustration before you even pour your coffee. And then you wonder why the day feels heavy. You got to flip that. You got to guard that first hour like it's gold. When I wake up now, the first thing I do is take a deep breath and acknowledge the fact that I woke up. You'd be shocked at how powerful that is. Because the truth is, somebody went to bed last night with big dreams and didn't open their eyes this morning. But you did. That's not small. That's life's way of saying you've got another shot, and I refuse to waste a shot by starting with complaints. You want to know what happens when you start your day with gratitude? You move slower in the right ways. You're not rushing through life in panic mode. You're deliberate. You respond instead of react. And when setbacks come, because they don't knock you completely off course because you already started from a place of strength. There was a season in my life when I was speaking to small rooms, maybe 10, 15 people. Some folks would have called it a waste of time. But every morning before I went, I'd thank God I even had someone willing to listen. I'd walk into those rooms with the same energy I'd give to a stadium. That mindset not only kept me sharp, it prepared me for the day the rooms got bigger. If I had let bitterness set my tone back then, I never would have been ready when the big opportunities came. This morning gratitude is also contagious. You set the tone for the people around you, your kids, your team, your friends. If they see you start the day with thanks instead of stress, it changes the atmosphere for them too. That's leadership without even opening your mouth. And don't overcomplicate it. You don't have to write a 10-page journal every morning. Start simple. Thankful for breath. Thankful for health. Thankful for the chance to try again today. The point isn't to cover everything. The point is to train your mind to start on offense. Listen to me. You can't control every event that happens today, but you can control the tone you walk into them with. And if you choose gratitude first, you walk in armed with peace, focus, and determination. That's a combination the world can't shake. So tomorrow morning, before your phone, before your email, before the noise, stop and be grateful. Because the way you start is the way you finish, and gratitude will make sure you finish strong. Life will always hand you something that looks like a problem. Always. You can be disciplined, you can be smart, you can be prepared, and still something's going to show up that tests you. The difference between those who crumble and those who conquer isn't that the conquerors avoid problems. It's that they interpret them differently. And gratitude changes the way you see the fight. See, when you wake up thankful, your eyes aren't looking for what's missing. They're looking for what's possible. And when you start from that position, problems don't look like roadblocks anymore. They look like puzzles, and puzzles have solutions. That's the shift right there. Gratitude doesn't make the problem disappear, but it makes you powerful enough to face it without fear. I'll never forget one season in my life where it felt like every door I wanted to walk through was locked. Rejections, delays, setbacks, all back to back. Now, I could have started every day asking, why me? But instead, I'd wake up and thank God for the doors that had opened, the people still in my corner, the lessons I'd already learned. That mindset kept me moving forward when everything around me was trying to pull me back. There's an ancient saying that goes, when you drink from the stream, remember the spring. In other words, when you're in a tough season, remember the source that's already gotten you through before. That's gratitude. And when you remember how you overcame the last storm, the one in front of you doesn't look as impossible. Gratitude turns your vision from the obstacle to the opportunity. You get passed over for a promotion. Gratitude says, all right, that means there's something bigger I'm being prepared for. Your business hits a slow season. Gratitude says, this is my chance to sharpen the systems, clean up the details, and get ready for the next wave. Without that mindset, those moments break you. With it, they build you. I've seen people with more talent than me, more resources than me, fail, not because they lack skill, but because they let problems define them instead of refine them. The difference is that gratitude keeps your heart soft while the world tries to make it hard. And when your heart stays soft, you stay teachable. When you stay teachable, you grow, and growth turns problems into stepping stones. Think about it like this. A seed has to be buried before it grows. The dirt around it could feel like a problem, a weight, a suffocating environment. But in reality, that dirt is the very thing that's going to feed it, protect it, and give it a place to sprout. Gratitude lets you see your dirt the same way, not as something that's killing you, but as something that's positioning you for growth. There was a time early in my career where I was speaking for free more than I was getting paid. Some people told me I was wasting my time, but instead of seeing it as a problem, I woke up every morning grateful that someone would even give me a platform, even if there was no check attached, and that gratitude gave me energy. That energy made me better, and eventually those unpaid opportunities turned into paid ones. Gratitude had turned what looked like a disadvantage into an investment. Here's the truth. Problems don't disappear when you start practicing gratitude, but their power over you does. The same storm that sinks one ship can push another ship to shore if the sails are set right. Gratitude is you setting the sails. I know some of you are facing real challenges right now, maybe financial pressure, health issues, strained relationships. I'm not saying be fake about it. I'm not saying ignore the weight. I'm saying find something to be thankful for right there in the middle of it, because when you do, it changes your chemistry, it changes your energy, it changes your outlook, and when your outlook changes, so does your outcome. The mind is a magnifying glass. Whatever you focus on, you make bigger, Gratitude forces you to focus on blessings, even in the middle of burdens. And when you magnify the blessing, the burden starts to shrink in comparison. One winter, I was traveling and my flight got canceled because of a snowstorm. I could have been angry. I had places to be, commitments to keep, but instead I chose to be grateful. I was safe on the ground and not trapped in turbulence. That one choice meant I spent the night resting and planning instead of pacing and stressing. And because I was rested, when I finally arrived, I was sharper than I would have been otherwise. Gratitude is like a key. You can be standing in front of a locked door all day, frustrated, angry, blaming everything around you. But when you approach it with the right key, it opens. The problem wasn't the door. The problem was that you were trying to open it with the wrong mindset. Gratitude is that right mindset. So when you wake up tomorrow, I want you to test this. Think of one problem you're facing right now. Before you get up, list 3 things about that situation you can actually be thankful for. Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's revealing who's really with you. Maybe it's pushing you to skills you wouldn't have learned otherwise. Watch what happens to your energy when you do that. Because at the end of the day, you don't need fewer problems. You need more perspective. And gratitude will give you that every single time. The blessing. But let me tell you something. Success doesn't belong to the one who shouts the loudest. It belongs to the one who shows up the longest. And you cannot show up day after day, week after week, month after month, unless you've got something deeper than hype driving you. That something is gratitude. When you wake up grateful, discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like privilege. Think about it. The alarm goes off at 5 a.m. If you wake up thinking about how tired you are, you hit snooze. But if you wake up thankful that you've got another chance to work towards your dream, that alarm becomes a signal of opportunity, not an interruption of comfort. That's gratitude at work. See, gratitude fuels consistency because it reminds you of why you started. It's easy to forget the hunger when the pain sets in. But when you remember how far you've come, when you remember the days you prayed for the position you're in now, it's hard to quit. Gratitude makes you loyal to the process. I remember grinding through a season when my schedule was so packed, I barely had time to breathe. Early mornings, late nights, no weekends off. And I could have complained. I could have told myself I deserved a break. But instead, every morning, I would stop for a second before my feet hit the ground and say, thank you for trusting me with this work. That single moment would shift my mindset from fatigue to focus. There's a saying from the old days, he who has bread in his bag will not stop walking. Gratitude is that bread. It's the nourishment that keeps you putting one foot in front of the other, even when the road feels long. Without it, discipline becomes a chore. With it, discipline becomes an act of worship. You ever notice how easy it is to quit something you're ungrateful for? That gym membership you resent paying for, you'll stop going. That job you complain about every morning, you'll start slacking. But when you're genuinely thankful for the chance, you protect it. You guard it. You give it your best. That's why gratitude is so dangerous to laziness. It eliminates the excuses. Gratitude also builds emotional endurance. Consistency isn't just about doing the right thing once. It's about doing it over and over until it becomes who you are. That takes emotional stamina, and gratitude is like training your heart for a marathon. Every morning you start thankful, you strengthen that muscle, and the stronger it gets, the less likely you are to collapse when life gets heavy. I've seen it over and over. The people who last in business, in sports, in any field aren't just the most talented. They're the ones who show up on the days they don't feel like it. And you can only do that if you've got something inside you that's bigger than feelings. Gratitude is that thing. It's the anchor that keeps you steady when the wind of distraction tries to blow you off course. When I was younger, I used to wonder why the elders in my neighborhood always started their day with a prayer of thanks before they did anything else. It didn't matter if it was raining, if bills were due, if life was heavy. The first thing they do was express gratitude. Now I get it. They weren't ignoring their problems. They were setting their spirit right so they could face those problems with consistency instead of chaos. Let's get practical for a second. Say you've got a side hustle you're trying to build. You work a full-time job, come home tired, and the last thing you feel like doing is spending 2 more hours on your business. But if you wake up thankful for the chance to even have that side hustle, if you remember there was a time when you were praying for any way out of your old situation, that gratitude will push you past your comfort zone into consistency. And that consistency is what eventually frees you. Just like a farmer planting crops. He doesn't just throw seeds once and walk away. He shows up day after day, watering, weeding, tending the soil. And you better believe there are mornings he doesn't feel like it. But he's grateful for the land, grateful for the season, grateful for the harvest that hasn't even come yet. So he keeps working. And when harvest day comes, nobody calls him lucky. That's how it works with your dream. Gratitude keeps you in the field long enough to see the fruit. Without it, you'll leave before the season turns and you'll miss what was already on the way. Discipline without gratitude is like a car without gas. It looks good, but it won't move. Gratitude is the fuel. And the beautiful thing is, the more you use it, the more it multiplies. When you wake up thankful and act on that thankfulness with discipline, you start seeing results. Those results make you even more grateful. That new gratitude gives you more energy to stay consistent, and the cycle keeps going. So here's the challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, before you think about what you have to do, list 3 reasons you're thankful for the grind you're in right now. Not just the results you want, but the grind itself. Then get up and work like someone who knows that opportunity doesn't come to the ungrateful. Because when you treat every day like a gift, you stop wasting days. And when you stop wasting days, success stops being a question and starts being a matter of time. Because in the end, gratitude doesn't just make you consistent. Gratitude makes you unstoppable. Most people wake up and immediately see everything that's missing. They wake up to the weight of their problems, to the limits of their situation. But when you wake up with gratitude, you don't just see the walls, you see the doors. Gratitude doesn't just change your mood, it changes your vision. I'm telling you right now, there were seasons in my life when the only thing I had was perspective. I didn't have the money yet. I didn't have the connections. I didn't have the resources. But when I woke up thankful for the little I had, my eyes started catching opportunities. Other people were blind to. You can't see a way out if your mind is locked in scarcity. Gratitude breaks that lock. There's an old proverb, when you drink water, remember the spring. That means never forget the source of what you already have. When you remember the source, whether that's God, life, the people who poured into you, you stop living like the well will run dry and you start living like the flow will keep coming. That belief opens your mind to possibilities. I've been in rooms I had no business being in, talking to people who could change my life in one conversation. And do you know what opened those doors? It wasn't my resume. It wasn't my talent. It was my spirit. People are drawn to the person who radiates gratitude. You can feel it when someone isn't entitled. You can feel it when they appreciate the chance, when they treat every moment like an opportunity instead of an obligation. That's the person others want to help, invest in, and open doors for. Gratitude also changes the way you handle problems. Without it, every obstacle looks like a dead end. With it, every obstacle becomes a detour, not the end of the road, just another route. I remember a time I lost a big opportunity. I could have sat there sulking, thinking it was over. But because I was grateful for the skills I had developed on the way to that opportunity, I kept moving. And wouldn't you know, the next door that opened was bigger than the one that closed. Here's the thing. You can't create what you can't see. If you start every day thinking about lack, you'll walk right past the resources you already have. Gratitude sharpens your focus. It's like putting on a new set of glasses. Suddenly you start seeing connections, solutions, and chances that were invisible before. Let's make it practical. Maybe you're in a small apartment, working a job you don't love. Without gratitude, you'll see that apartment as a prison and the job as a curse. With gratitude, you'll see the apartment as a safe space to plan your next move and the job as a capital to fund it. Same situation, different vision, and that different vision will dictate different actions, actions that lead you towards something greater. I remember as a kid, there was this older man in the neighborhood who always walked with a bounce in his step. Didn't matter if it was raining, if his clothes were old, if people ignored him. He carried himself like he was walking towards something amazing. One day I asked him why. He told me, son, every day I wake up, I picture where I'm going, not where I'm standing. That's gratitude. Being thankful for the ground under your feet while still keeping your eyes on the horizon. The problem with most of us is we want the vision to come before the gratitude. We say, once I get the dream job, once I make the money, once I move into the big house, then I'll be thankful. But it doesn't work like that. Gratitude is the seed. Vision is the fruit. You don't get the fruit without planting the seed first. Gratitude also makes you more creative. When you're thankful, your mind is free from the chains of complaint. Complaining is mental clutter. It takes up space in your head that could be used for problem solving and dreaming. The moment you replace complaints with thanks, you give your brain room to innovate. That's when you start thinking, maybe I could try this. Maybe I could build that. Maybe I could connect with them. And before you know it, you're moving on things that were invisible to you before. Here's another truth. Gratitude makes you magnetic. People with vision attract opportunities, but gratitude is what powers the vision. You want people to believe in your dream. Show them you already value the small steps you're taking toward it. If you can appreciate a $500 win, you're ready for a $50,000 opportunity. If you can be grateful for 5 clients, you can handle 50. It's not just about proving it to them. It's about proving it to yourself. When you wake up with gratitude, you give yourself permission to dream bigger. You stop saying, why me, in defeat, and start saying, why not me, in expectation. You stop limiting your future based on your present because you know the same grace that brought you here can take you there. So tomorrow morning, before you even get out of bed, I want you to do this. Instead of thinking about all the things you wish were different, find 3 things you're grateful for that you already have. Then ask yourself, what can I build from here? Watch how that flips the script on your whole day. Because the truth is, gratitude isn't just about being content where you are. It's about seeing where you can go. And when you can see it, you can chase it. And when you can chase it with a grateful heart, nothing in this world can stop you from getting there. Some of you wake up every day and the first thing you feel is dread. You're thinking about the commute, the same desk, the same people, the same to-do list. And because you call it routine, you've stripped it of meaning. But I need you to hear me. Gratitude is what takes routine and turns it into purpose. See, when you're ungrateful, life becomes a checklist. Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat. But when you approach the same routine with a grateful heart, it's no longer just motions, it's momentum. You stop moving in circles and start moving towards something. I remember working jobs I didn't love, doing tasks I thought were beneath me. I wanted to skip over those seasons. But when I started waking up and thanking God for the work in front of me, everything shifted. I realized every day was training for something bigger. The way I handled the small things was preparing me for the big things. The humility I learned mopping floors became the discipline I used when speaking on big stages. Gratitude makes you see that your routine is not wasted time. It's invested time. It's like a farmer. He's out there every morning tending the same rows, doing the same work, but he's not complaining about routine. Why? Because he knows every seed he's tending has a purpose. He doesn't see it as repetition. He sees it as preparation for the harvest. There's a saying, chop wood, carry water. It's an old reminder that the everyday simple actions are what sustain life. But if you do it without gratitude, it feels like a burden. With gratitude, even chopping wood becomes a sacred act. You start to find pride in doing it well because you understand it's part of something bigger than today. Gratitude in your routine changes how you show up. Think about it. When you appreciate the opportunity to work, you show up on time. When you're thankful for the relationships you had, you engage differently. You stop just being there and you start being present. And that presence is what opens new opportunities in the same old places. I've met people who hate their mornings because they're convinced nothing exciting can happen in their day. And you know what? They're right, because they've already closed their eyes before the day even started. Gratitude reopens those eyes. It makes you believe that even in the most familiar path, something new can grow. Let me make it practical. Maybe your morning is the same every day, same breakfast, same drive, same desk. Instead of seeing it as boring, see it as the foundation you get to build from. Thank God that you woke up in your own bed, that your car started, that you have a place to go. Those are blessings someone else is praying for right now. And when you see them as blessings, you handle them differently. When I was starting out, my days felt like copy and paste. I didn't feel the excitement I thought I needed to succeed. But when I shifted my focus from what I didn't have to what I did have, something happened. I stopped dragging myself through the day and started attacking it. My energy changed. My results changed. And that's when doors started opening because people could see I wasn't just going through the motions. I was going after something. Gratitude also helps you endure the parts of the routine that are hard. Some seasons are grind seasons. You don't see the payoff yet. You're doing the work, but it feels invisible. Gratitude keeps you from quitting in those seasons because it reminds you that every rep, every step, every hour matters. It's the difference between saying I have to and saying I get to. And let me tell you something. When you shift your language, you shift your life. You don't have to wake up early. You get to wake up early to work towards your dream. You don't have to go to work. You get to go somewhere that funds your vision. You don't have to train. You get to sharpen the tools that will take you where you want to go. That's gratitude speaking. Some of you are missing blessings because they're disguised as routine. You're walking past opportunities every day because you're too busy complaining about how ordinary it all feels. Gratitude makes you stop and realize ordinary is where extraordinary begins. Every big breakthrough you see started with someone showing up faithfully to their routine, grateful for the chance to do it again. I know people who wait for life to hand them excitement before they give their best. That's backward. You bring the energy and life meets you halfway. Gratitude is that energy. It's waking up and deciding I'm going to put my whole heart into today, no matter how familiar it looks. And when you do that, you start to see miracles in the mundane. Think about the sunrise. It happens every single day. You could call it routine. But the person who's grateful, they see it as a masterpiece. Same sun, same sky, different eyes. Gratitude changes the way you see the world. And when your vision changes, your life follows. So I'm telling you, don't despise your routine. Don't treat it like a prison. See it as your training ground. See it as proof that you're being prepared for something bigger. And every morning, thank God for the chance to do it again. Because one day you're going to look back and realize those ordinary days were building the life you prayed for. Everybody loves gratitude when things are good. It's easy to say thank you when you're winning, when you're getting what you asked for. But let me talk to you about the real test when life throws you something you didn't order. When you wake up and the first thing you face is a problem you didn't see coming. That's when gratitude has power. That's when it becomes a weapon, not just a feeling. See, most people hit an obstacle and immediately start asking, why me? They start thinking they've been singled out for suffering. But let me give you a different perspective. What if that obstacle is not here to break you, but to build you? What if that thing in your way is the very thing that's going to elevate you? Gratitude allows you to look at the mountain in front of you and say, this is my training ground. I've been there. I've had mornings where I woke up with bills overdue, no clear plan, and no idea how I was going to fix it. And I'm telling you right now, the only thing that kept me from drowning in self-pity was waking up and thanking God for the fight. Not because the pain felt good, it didn't. But because I understood that pain was shaping me into the kind of person who could handle the blessings I was asking for. Think about the blacksmith. He takes raw iron and puts it in the fire. He beats it, shapes it, and sends it back into the flames over and over again. It's the heat and the pressure that make it strong. Without that process, it's just metal. That's what obstacles do to us. They're the fire, and gratitude is what allows you to stand in that heat and say, I'm being forged for greatness. When you're grateful for obstacles, you stop running from them and start running through them. You start seeing things other people can't. Where they see a wall, you see a door waiting to be built. Where they see a problem, you see a puzzle you've been given the privilege to solve. That's what separates winners from everyone else. I remember a season when every door seemed to be closing. I thought my dreams were slipping away, and I'll be honest, I had moments where I wanted to quit, but I started practicing something every morning. Before I let my mind go to the negative, I'd list 3 things I was grateful for. And sometimes those things were tiny: a roof over my head, food in the fridge, breath in my lungs. But that practice shifted my focus. Instead of waking up defeated, I woke up equipped. Philosopher Seneca once said, A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Gratitude lets you embrace that truth. It makes you stop wishing the friction away and start using it to shine. Without obstacles, your potential stays hidden. It's the grind against resistance that brings it out. Here's the thing. Gratitude doesn't erase the obstacle, but it changes your relationship to it. Without gratitude, a challenge feels like a curse. With gratitude, it becomes a classroom. You start asking different questions, not why me, but what is this here to teach me? That shift alone can take you from stuck to unstoppable. And let's get practical. Maybe you've lost your job. The ungrateful mind sees that as the end. The grateful mind sees it as the beginning of a new chapter. Maybe even the push you needed to start that business or chase that idea you've been sitting on for years. Maybe your relationship ended. Painful. Absolutely. But gratitude allows you to thank the experience for what it taught you and use the lessons to become better, not bitter. When you choose gratitude in the face of hardship, you disarm fear. Fear feeds on scarcity, the belief that you've lost something you can't get back. Gratitude reminds you of what you still have and what you're still capable of. It fills your hands with tools instead of leaving them empty. Think of the seed again. Before it can grow, it has to be buried in the dirt, dark, alone, and under pressure. If the seed could talk, it might call that an obstacle. But if it's grateful for the soil, it will recognize it's exactly where it needs to be to sprout. You are that seed. Your obstacles are the soil. Gratitude helps you stop fighting the dirt and start growing in it. Some of you right now are in situations you didn't ask for. You're facing problems you don't feel ready for. But let me challenge you. Wake up tomorrow and instead of resenting that problem, thank it. Thank it for forcing you to stretch. Thank it for revealing your strength. Thank it for pushing you to think bigger, act braver, and live bolder. Because here's the truth. The blessings you want are on the other side of battles you don't want to fight. Gratitude is the fuel that will get you through those battles without quitting. It's the thing that will make you walk into the storm and keep your head high, knowing that on the other side, you're going to be stronger, wiser, and ready for more than you were before. And one day you're going to look back and realize the obstacle you cursed was the opportunity you needed, that the mountain you dreaded climbing gave you the view you've been dreaming about, that the very thing you thought was sent to destroy you actually delivered you to your destiny. When that alarm clock goes off, you've got two choices. You can roll over, sigh, and dread what's coming, or you can open your eyes, take that first deep breath, and decide that today you're going to meet life head on. That decision, that mindset, it's built on gratitude. Gratitude is not just a feel-good emotion, it's your armor. It's what you put on before you step into the battlefield of the day. See, resilience isn't something you magically wake up with. It's built piece by piece, choice by choice. And the first choice you make in the morning sets the tone for everything that follows. When you wake up grateful, you've already won the first fight of the day, the fight against fear, against worry, against that voice that says, I can't. Gratitude shuts that voice down before it even gets started. Let me be real. Life doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if yesterday drained you. The day is coming whether you're ready or not. But gratitude gets you ready. It trains your mind to see opportunity instead of opposition. It gives you the energy to push forward when everything in you says stay down. I've had seasons where my schedule was brutal, speaking engagements, travel, deadlines, and still trying to be present for my family. And I'll be honest, there were mornings I woke up thinking, how am I going to do this again? But before my feet hit the floor, I would speak gratitude into my day. I thank God for the breath in my lungs, for the people counting on me, for the fact that I had something worth getting up for. And every single time, that gratitude flipped the switch from exhaustion to determination. The old saying goes, he who has a why can bear almost anyhow. Gratitude is how you find your why every morning. It reminds you that your struggles are proof you're still in the game, that your challenges are just signs you're alive and growing. Without gratitude, the weight of life will break you. With it, the weight becomes a workout. Every challenge becomes a rep. Every setback becomes a set. And over time, that's how you get strong. Think about a boxer. Before they step into the ring, they've trained for months. They've conditioned their body to take hits and keep moving. That's what gratitude does for your spirit. It conditions you to take the punches life throws without going down for good. Every morning you practice it, you're building that inner muscle. So when the hit comes, and it will come, you're not asking, why me? You're saying, let's go. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine two people start their morning exactly the same way. They spill coffee on their shirt before work. The one without gratitude lets that small moment ruin their mood. The one with gratitude, they laugh it off, change their shirt, and keep it moving because they've already anchored themselves in thankfulness before the day started. That small difference in the morning can change the entire trajectory of a day. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Gratitude is the tool that lets you control your mind before the world tries to control it for you. It builds a shield around your focus so that the chaos of life doesn't penetrate your purpose. I'm not talking about fake gratitude where you pretend everything's perfect. No, I'm talking about the kind that's real, the kind that looks at the storm and still says, thank you for the rain because it's going to make me grow. That's the gratitude that builds resilience. That's the gratitude that makes you stand up one more time than you fall down. There were days in my life where the only thing I could be grateful for was the chance to try again. I didn't have money in my pocket. I didn't have a clear path, but I had another sunrise, and that was enough to keep me moving. You'd be surprised how far you can go when you start your day from that place. Here's the truth. People think resilience is about being tough, about never feeling fear or doubt. That's wrong. Resilience is about feeling all of it and choosing to move anyway. And gratitude is what gives you that choice. It's the anchor in the storm, the calm in the chaos. You have to train it daily. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you think about your to-do list, take 30 seconds and name 3 things you're grateful for. Say them out loud. Feel them. It could be as big as your health or as small as the sunlight coming through your window. Do it every morning and watch what happens. You'll notice the hits don't hit as hard. The setbacks don't stick as long because you've built a habit of bouncing back before the day even starts. The world is going to test you. Life is going to try to knock you off your path. But if you build your resilience on gratitude, you'll always find your way back. Because no matter what happens, you'll have something to hold on to, a reason to keep swinging, a reason to keep showing up. And when you face those moments, the ones that would have broken the old you, you'll smile. You'll smile because you'll know the secret. It wasn't strength alone that got you here. It was waking up every single day and saying thank you, even when life didn't give you a reason. When your eyes open in the morning, you're not just waking up for yourself. You're waking up for everybody your life will touch today, tomorrow, and even long after you're gone. The choices you make the moment you wake up ripple outward like waves in a pond. Gratitude, that's the stone you drop in the water. It sets everything in motion. See, we all talk about wanting to leave a legacy to be remembered, to have our lives mean something. But legacy isn't built in one grand moment. It's built in the small daily choices no one sees. And one of the most powerful choices you can make every single day is to start with gratitude. Because gratitude changes not just what you do, but how you do it and how people remember you for it. When you wake up grateful, you carry yourself differently. People feel it when you walk into a room. They feel your energy. They see how you treat them, not with entitlement, but with appreciation. And here's the truth. People may forget your exact words, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Gratitude ensures they feel seen, valued, and respected. That's legacy work. I remember a time early in my journey, before I had stages to speak on or audiences to inspire, I was just trying to make ends meet. But even then, I made a decision. Every single person I met was going to know I valued them. I didn't have money to give, but I could give my time, my respect, my full attention. Years later, people I hadn't spoken to in a decade would reach out and say, I still remember how you encouraged me. That wasn't because I had all the answers. It was because I was grateful for the opportunity to connect even in the smallest way. Gratitude creates a chain reaction. You wake up thankful, you treat people better, they feel uplifted, and then they carry that energy into their own circles. That ripple doesn't stop. Long after you're gone, those ripples are still moving. That's how ordinary mornings turn into extraordinary legacies. Think about the greats of history. Marcus Aurelius didn't leave a legacy just because he ruled Rome. He left it because his words, rooted in perspective and gratitude, still guide people centuries later. The impact wasn't just in his power, it was in his heart, his humility, his willingness to see life as a gift, even in hardship. Now, let me be real. Some people are trying to build a legacy on nothing but achievement. That's a house built on sand. You can stack up awards, you can stack up titles, you can stack up money, but if you didn't live with gratitude, if you didn't make people feel valued along the way, it's going to wash away the moment you're gone. Gratitude is the concrete. It's what keeps your impact standing. Practical example. You wake up in the morning, you're stressed about deadlines, and you rush through your day with your head down. You hit your targets, but you brush past people, missed opportunities to connect, and maybe left someone feeling unseen. You've met your goal, but you've left no legacy in that moment. Now flip it. Same deadline, same pressure, but you start your day by saying, I'm grateful I have people to serve. I'm grateful for the work I get to do. You move through the day with intention. You make eye contact. You encourage someone. You thank them for their effort. That's the difference between success and significance. And let's talk about the psychology of it for a second. Gratitude rewires your brain. It shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, from what's missing to what's possible. That shift not only changes your mood, it changes your decisions, and those decisions shape your life. Over years, those decisions shape your legacy. For me, legacy is about impact. It's about knowing that when my time here is done, the people who cross my path are better for it. Gratitude makes that possible. Without it, life becomes about taking. With it, life becomes about giving your time, your energy, your encouragement, your presence. And the funny thing is, the more you give from a place of gratitude, the richer your own life becomes. One day, someone is going to talk about you in the past tense. They're going to tell stories about the kind of person you were. The question is, will they talk about how much you had, or will they talk about how much you gave? Will they remember the car you drove, or the way you made them feel like they mattered? That answer depends on what you do tomorrow morning when you wake up. So every day you open your eyes, remember you're writing the story people will tell about you. Gratitude makes sure it's a story worth telling. Because when you live with gratitude, you're not just surviving the day. You're investing in a future where your name still inspires, still uplifts, still matters. That's the real power of waking up thankful. That's the kind of legacy no one can erase. Because when you start with gratitude, you don't just change your morning, you change your life. And when you change your life, you change the lives of everyone your life touches. That's a legacy worth waking up for. When you wake up tomorrow, it's not just another day. It's another shot at rewriting your story, another opportunity to become the person you keep telling yourself you want to be. Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you. It's about living in a way that proves you mean it. It's about waking up with fire in your heart and purpose in your steps, refusing to waste the breath you've been given. Because here's the truth. There are people counting on you who will never tell you. There are dreams inside you that will die if you keep hitting snooze on your life. So I'm challenging you, not next week, not when you feel ready tomorrow morning. Open your eyes, put your feet on the floor, and before you touch your phone, speak it out loud. I'm grateful, I'm alive, I'm ready, then go act like it. Serve somebody, encourage somebody, push yourself, build something. This isn't theory. This is life and death for your purpose. Don't waste the gift. Live grateful. Live loud. And when the world sees you, let them see what it looks like when gratitude wakes up and goes to work.